Meditation has been shown to reduce stress, to improve focus, and create the right conditions for healthy, restful sleep. Headspace is guided meditation for everybody, no matter who you are or what you do. Whether you're just starting meditating or whether you've been doing it for years, we can help you to train your mind for a healthier, happier life. Some days meditation will feel easy. On others, it might feel difficult. The trick is to gently stay with it each time, no matter how it feels. Look for a place in your routine where this exercise can slot in easily. Research shows it's easier to create a new habit when we do it at about the same time each day. We recommend doing it first thing in the morning, but you might need to be flexible with that. Find somewhere you won't be disturbed. Don't worry too much about background noise. I'll explain how to deal with that, but it might be easier at first if you have some peace and quiet. Make sure you're sitting comfortably before you start. Unless you're used to sitting cross-legged on the floor, I'd recommend using a chair. Sit with your legs and arms uncrossed, feet flat on the floor, and hands resting in your lap or on your legs. Try to keep your back straight, but not too tense. If you need it, a small cushion or a rolled up towel under your backside will help keep your back straight. And that's it. You're now ready to get some headspace. Training the mind is often quite different to how people imagine it to be. Maybe they have an idea it's about stopping thoughts or eliminating feelings, but the reality is a bit different. An easy way to think of it is to imagine yourself sitting on the side of a busy road, the passing cars representing the thoughts and the feelings. All you have to do is to sit there and watch the cars. Sounds easy, right? But what usually happens is that we feel a bit unsettled by the movement of the traffic. So we run out into the road and try and stop the cars, or maybe even chase after a few, forgetting that the idea was to just sit here. And of course, all of this running around only adds to the feeling of restlessness in the mind. So training the mind is about changing our relationship with the passing thoughts and feelings, learning how to view them with a little more perspective. And when we do this, we naturally find a place of calm. Will we sometimes forget the idea of the exercise and become distracted? Of course we will. But as soon as we remember, here we are, back on the side of the road again, just watching the traffic go by, perfectly at ease in both body and mind. When we sit to meditate, it's very tempting to remember previous meditations, hoping that an enjoyable one will be repeated, or perhaps fearing that a more challenging one will reappear. The trouble is, these ideas, our hopes and our fears, can really get in the way of a direct experience of the breath, of this moment. Because rather than observing the mind as it is, allowing it to naturally unfold, we're busy trying to create an idea of what we would like it to look like instead. That's why it's helpful to approach meditation with what's known as beginner's mind. It means sitting down without any preconceptions or assumptions, with no idea of what we'll find or what the outcome will be. So it's a very innocent mind. It's a bit like the way young children interact with the world, with a sense of curiosity and wonder. And there's a certain amount of delight inherent in that interest in the world. Kids aren't thinking about the outcome necessarily. They simply enjoy exploring for its own sake. So with beginner's mind, we're going into each meditation, recognizing that the experience is new. The mind is different. The conditions are different. And so rather than comparing our current experience to our expectation, we're actually present, interested in the body and mind as it is in this moment. So sitting comfortably, just taking a big deep breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth. As you breathe in, noticing how the body expands. As you breathe out, just watching the body soften as you gently close the eyes. And rather than the mind leading the breath, allow the breath to lead the mind. Notice the sensation of the breath. Notice it where you feel it in the body. If you need to, you can just gently place your hand on the stomach. And just following that rising and falling sensation. Nothing else to do. Allowing thoughts to come and go. And when you're ready, just gently opening the eyes again. One of the most challenging parts of meditation is what's sometimes called the dark side of the mind. These are the thoughts and fantasies that we'd rather didn't appear in the mind. Whether they're exciting, violent, vengeful, or maybe even sadistic in nature. We might think we shouldn't be experiencing them. But these thoughts are perfectly natural, and there's obviously no need to act on them. But why do they seem to appear more often once we begin to meditate? Well, typically, we go through our day with quite a heavy filter on the mind, blocking out these thoughts that we don't like, either habitually or intentionally. When we block them out habitually, we're unaware that it's even taking place. We're just so caught up in our day-to-day thinking. But by meditating, we're creating more space in the mind. So it's not that there are more of these thoughts, we just see them more clearly. But when we're blocking them out intentionally, we already see the thoughts clearly, but we're resisting them, perhaps fearful of what they say about us as a person. But what meditation shows us is that we're not our thoughts, so there's no need to judge them, to identify with them. We see that they don't make us a mean person, a terrible person, a twisted person. And it's through this process that we discover peace of mind, allowing thoughts to come and go, at ease with the mind, exactly as it is. It's quite normal when we start to meditate for the mind to jump around all over the place. We might find it tends to chase after all the little things, to be constantly moving about, from the present to the past to the future, in fact to rarely be still at all. Fortunately, the mind can be tamed, not by forcing it to stop or trying to make it sit still. We don't want to trap it. That would just stir it up and create even more movement. But by training the mind, having an awareness of when our attention has wandered off, and gently bringing it back with a kind and friendly hand. In this way, the mind slowly becomes a little less restless. It also becomes more comfortable with this idea of sitting still. In fact, it might even come to enjoy it. This analogy for the mind has been around for thousands of years. Thankfully, so is the knowledge that, with time and practice, we can learn to train this monkey. Have you ever wondered why, when you chase after happiness, it seems so elusive? I think most of us do it, most of the time. There's an idea that happiness exists somewhere else. Not in this moment, maybe in another place, or it's with another person, just doing something different. When we chase after happiness as a movement, it's away from the present moment to another place, to some time other than now. And because we move away from the present moment, ironically, we move further away from happiness. Because when you think about it, happiness can only exist in this moment, right here, right now. Now, the interesting thing is that when we focus less on chasing our own happiness, and instead focus more on the happiness of others, we immediately find ourselves in the present moment. So not only are we benefiting others by having a more open, empathetic mind, but we're also benefiting ourselves by being more present and experiencing more happiness. So the quickest way, the surest way of experiencing more happiness in our lives is to focus more on the happiness of others. We're always taught the more effort we put in, the more we'll get out of life. But of course this isn't always true. Take falling asleep, for example. You can prepare in the right way, put yourself in the right position, and get yourself comfortable. But after that, well, you can't force it to happen, right? In fact, it works exactly the other way around. The harder you try, the less sleepy you become. It's only when we stop trying that we finally let go and drift off. And before we know it, we're waking up the next morning feeling refreshed, relaxed, after a good night's sleep. And it's a very similar story when we're training the mind. I think a nice metaphor for this is the idea of taming a wild horse. If you look at how a wild horse is tamed, rather than pinning it down in one place, the horse is led out on a very long rope and put in a big open spacious field. The horse runs around feeling like it's got all the space in the world. But very slowly, the rope's pulled in, and the horse adjusts to this feeling until it comes to a natural place of rest. And we're looking to do just the same thing with the mind in meditation. Not trying to pin it down in one place, but bringing it to a natural place of rest. So let go of any idea of needing to achieve something or get somewhere, and instead enjoy the opportunity to sit back, relax, and be present in the world.
So just lying down, we're going to focus the attention on the different parts of the body, watching as they switch off for the night, starting down at the feet, muscles in the toes and the arches switching off, the legs, any tension just dissolving as the calves and thighs power down, the muscles in the lower back and the stomach switching off. Now the chest and upper back switching off. The shoulders, the arms, the hands and fingers just switching off. The face, the eyes, the mouth, any tension just melting away as the muscles switch off, shut down, at rest for the night.